Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm joined with Eric in another one of our partner sessions. These are monthly sessions that we are putting out for our partners to better understand the value of Workspace 365 and also get some glimpses into what's coming up in our roadmap for 2025. In today's session, it's going to be another roadmap topic. We're looking into Search Simplified and how our newest update is going to help users better search across all applications within their tech stack and simplify those workflows even further and hopefully give you guys a lot stronger positions in conversations.
Good introduction, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks
Eric.
for having me.
No, anytime. It's always fun doing these sessions, and I think partners also really appreciate this. So, what can you expect from today's session? Well, we'll be going into why search matters. Why is this such an important feature that we've got so much focus on it throughout this quarter, and why you need to be really helping users simplify this process specifically. We'll be taking a bit more of a look into the further roadmap for 2025 and in how our search functionality sort of works into the bigger picture of our we call it a BHAG for being the one and only interface for users. And then we'll start looking into the integration framework. So what's going on in the back end of our new global search bar. We'll be looking into how we've actually already rolled this out to some of our customers in the beta testing and the results of that, the outcomes of that. And then, finally, we'll be showing you how you can implement this to some of your existing customers. For those of you that haven't met me, I'm Nathan. I'm a partner account executive at Workspace 365, based over in our Manchester office. I work predominantly with all of our global partners, so working partners in the UK, the Nordics, down in New Zealand. And I'm joined today by one half of the brains behind Workspace 365, CEO and co-founder Eric Nicolai.
Nathan, let's get started. I'm excited.
Perfect. Over to
Excellent.
you.
Yes, I think when you talk about search, I really like how you give perspective about the integration framework and everything that's happening within our company. But that's if you really zoom out to everything, why we do it, right? So we do many major upgrades to our platform in 2025, but I think it's also important to zoom out and think, why is it all coming together? And at Workspace 365, the one thing we kind of is central as a Northern Star in everything we do is that we want to simplify everything, right? So that's our purpose. That's the thing, right? We want to simplify everything. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to make simple what other people made complicated. And for us, the kind of simplification is kind of the ultimate thing that you can achieve, because it's actually very difficult to make things simple. But that's where we find a lot of pride in our work to make things so simple. And we try to do this on 3 different areas, right? So if you think about the focus areas of Workspace 5, we want to make access to applications super simple. We want to make communication throughout the company super simple, and we want to make workflow, right? So I think in many organizations, it's really hard to find what's relevant for you. It's not easy to say, hey, what's next? What's expected from me? And for me, workflow is like, it's just flowing. It's happening. I know what's expected of me. I fit in my role. I know where I can find the information. And if you just know where to find your applications, if you know how to communicate and where to find the right communication, and if the work is flowing, just your whole kind of work life becomes much easier. And for us, simplification is all down to, hey, how can we influence simplification, right? So what are kind of the instruments we can play with to simplify the work life of our employees? And for us, if we can control the interface, if we can control how people interact with software, if we can control how people are kind of interfering with the software they use, we can make it super simple. So for us to build the one and only interface people ever need, it really comes down to the level of simplification, because the more interfaces we can simplify, the better we can kind of control the simplification layer for employees. And with that, we're not trying to say that we want to replace CRM and ERP and HR tools. For us, it's not about replacing it. It's just about integrating and simplifying it. So just providing a new interface for people that are just engaged with those applications either on a daily or weekly basis. And today we want to talk about Search Simplified. So I think Nathan said it in the introduction. We've done a lot of work on kind of building and getting towards the momentum of 2025, and we were able to launch it. And the basis of Search Simplified is actually a whole integration framework, which I will explain in more detail. But it's all about how can you create integrations to be able to search through all your applications within Workspace 5. And Q1, we focus on communication simplified. So really kind of extending the functionalities within Workspace 5 to further engage and enable the hub, as we can also give some small details. And the second and last was about AI simplified and workflow simplified for Q4. So this is all happening in 2025. We're now presenting all the results from Q2. This is the work from our product team. And now our product team is working on kind of the AI simplified, which we will launch by the end of September as well. So why is search so important? I think it is important to understand how people find and retrieve information what's relevant for them. And Nathan, I think it's the same for you, right? So often when you start, let's say, a new customer meeting, you go back to where can I find the latest product presentation? Or if you do, let's say, a demo of Workspace 5 for a partner or a customer, you think, hey, where was the last script? What was the last kind of presentation, how to do the demo? So it's all about how can you find what's relevant to get started. So a lot of people mistakenly think about searching, hey, I'm looking for something I lost. But often it's not about what you lost. It's like, hey, I want to start with something, or I have to do something. Where do I start with? And I think often people really kind of struggle, like, how do I find what's relevant? But also kind of how do I find where to get started with? And 20% of the time, people actually find what they're looking for. So if people don't find what they're looking for, they first ask people around them, and then they will kind of go to the ticketing service from the organization. And often most organizations forget about kind of the indirect communication layer that happens if people can't find it, right? If you ask our marketing team, that's, I think, sometimes when things are not well organized, then they just get so many questions, where can I find, where can I find, where can I find? And every time this kind of motion of where can I find happens, we circle back, hey, this is not properly executed. We have to go back. Yeah. Where do we store this information? Why if people don't have access to this? How should we simplify this? So every time something is happening where people ask questions, something is wrong in the organization. And it can happen on marketing, it can happen on HR. So even within our own company, sometimes it occurs that people ask questions. And if people ask those questions, we try to zoom in what's happening, what's going wrong, and how should we centralize this information to kind of minimize the time spent on searching, but also to make sure we minimize the 20% to a much higher number.
Yeah, and I guess for partners who are in conversations with customers, and with this sort of being quite an end user focused problem, how can our partners position this in sales conversations to highlight the actual business impact of this?
Yeah, good question. So I think there's a lot of, let's say, hidden unproductivity, right? So productivity is really hard to kind of either effectively measure. But I think if you ask questions to employees, like how well do you feel that you can find what's relevant for you? How often do you have to search for you can't find it? And how often do you have to ask people around you? It's easy to be put in a survey to ask how effective people think they can work within the organization. You can measure effectiveness. It's just either a star, let's say 1 to 5. So even I think when you start a new project with like kind of IT related, of communication related, it's really easy to say, hey, let's just do a survey within the employees, let's say 10% of it, and ask how they feel, how they feel, what could be simplified within the organization. The employees will tell you, right? So I think the employees will have the feedback. And you can also have the counter of, let's say, IT, communication, and HR/CIO. I also have an input of what do we want to simplify for our employees? And often we have a kind of a feeling about what's the complexity and what the hidden driver behind this. So
nice.
Yeah, so for us, like simplicity is really kind of eliminates the need for adoption, right? So if you have a simple product that really simplifies everything, you have to spend less time on adoption. If you have really nailed down simplicity, it really kind of enables work focus. So simplicity always wins. That's why for us, simplicity is so important in everything, how we go about this. So to zoom in on Search Simplified, right? So as you mentioned, Search Simplified is the umbrella for the next step within Workspace 5 to be able to search through everything within your application landscape. So if you look at today's application landscape, almost every application has its own search functionality, right? So you can go into Teams, you can search. You can go into SharePoint, you can search. If you go to your line of business applications like HubSpot as a CRM, or if you go to your financial application like Sage, every application supports their own search. So if you know where to go, you go to the application, you type it in, and you can find what's relevant for you. But I think if you compare this to consumer behavior, is that you either go to Google and type in what you need, or you go, for example, to Amazon and you go to the Amazon app and you actually go, hey, I'm looking to buy this on Amazon. But it depends per kind of relevance, I think per buying decision, like, do I already know where to go? Or do I just Google it? And based on my Google results, I see which website I want to click on. And I think that's the same for in-app searching within the organization. Is like sometimes you know what applications you have to go to, right? So customer related, you can say this is CRM. But if I look in Workspace D5, we have a financial application where we have financial data from our customers. We have a CRM application where we have kind of this HubSpot where we say everything pre-customer phase. And then we have kind of a customer relationship management for everything after the customer phase. So already 3 ways where we can store customer data. So a perfect example is that if you know where to go, you can know where to search. But if you have one way to search through everything, you don't have to think like, where do I go? We just have a workspace that allows you to type it in and to be able to find it. And we will show some real life examples like how search can be really simplified if you really kind of put it all together. So if you think about searching made simple, our goal, how we go about this is that we want to make sure that everyone in the organization can have one global search and we can just type it in and you should be able to find it within 10 seconds without second guessing. Because I think the second guessing is most often one of the main problems about people think, do I have the right information? Because we can find it, but then interpreting, is it the right document? We should be able to say, hey, you have the right document. This is the latest document. This is the one. This is the PowerPoint presentation you need based on your question, right? So be able to help employees to drive what's needed. And ultimately, we want.
Sorry, Eric. I think the question that we always get asked, I think it's maybe good just to sort of bring this one to light as well, is just around what we do with that data, how that data is stored, is it safe? Obviously, with it coming through Workspace 365, it's maybe a question that does come up with customers. So how can partners sort of rectify that this data is still safe and backed up, I guess?
Yeah, so today within Workspace, we don't store any data or we don't duplicate any data. We just we interpret the data as it is being requested. For us, everything is API connected. So we connect to APIs and all the requirements we do is based on real-time data without duplicating it. So that's a very important thing for us. It's really about how can we integrate, aggregate rather than duplicate. So that's a different way of approaching it. And I think it's ultimately a question like how relevant it is to find what you need, but also what is the consequence of not doing it. And I think often when you talk to customers, it's about, okay, if you don't fix the problem, what's the cost of it, right? So if you don't fix your car, you can't get to work tomorrow. It's an immediate effective, let's say, this is the result of this. I think there are so many hidden costs of not kind of organizing our data properly and not allowing employees to find what they need. I think it's really good to think about, hey, what's the consequence of not fixing this? So you can either think about that decision making is inadequate or that people just waste time. I think the time waste and kind of not starting with the right things, that people is not only, let's say, is a cost price for the organization, but also kind of constantly work on the wrong documents and realizing, hey, I've done this wrong, I should have started there. It's not very motivating, right? So you want to move forward, you want to go forward as an organization, and you just want to waste time on the right things because, yeah, I think time is the only thing we can't get back in life. So for us, really, the umbrella is that we want to make sure that people are able to focus on what really matters for them. So find the right information to be able to customize this. So as an organization, you want to be able that you kind of customize the search results, like how do you display what, really kind of give this a consistent kind of experience throughout the organization. So with Workspace 5, we want to provide one app to search through everything. And I think that was obvious how we explain it with Workspace 5, providing one search kind of bar that allows you to search through any application in the organization. And the foundation of this whole kind of integration possibilities is that we kind of started from scratch about how to approach integrations within Workspace 5. Because until kind of a few years ago, our integration strategy was really about we build an integration for application X, and then we build also an integration for application Y, and it was really kind of limited to the amount of integration we were building. And when we envisioned Workspace 5, we really saw it has to become an ecosystem where our partners and customers can build their own integrations, and we cannot be the limiting factor in our application kind of integration approach. So the foundation of our whole Search Simplified campaign is not about, let's say, we have to build the integrations. Any application that supports an API can be connected with Workspace 5. So it's literally a one-to-many approach. So the one search, but it can be any app. So all your apps that you or your customers are using can be connected to Workspace 5 as long as they have an API that supports it, right? So that's a critical factor. Of course, there are different data models which you can duplicate and create kind of data warehouse architectures where you can kind of have some data duplication. But ultimately, our goal is really to have a one-on-one API integration with all the applications you see as a visual. So it should not matter what application you have. We just want to kind of aggregate it and present it. So as an example, I think to give some perspective, so imagine you have multiple kind of document repositories within the organization. You can say you can connect to Google Drive or your Dropbox, and our workspace can just go through your documents and find the latest document and present it to you. You click on it and you open it, right? So it's really kind of one place to fit it all. And the reason for me to kind of explain it from a file perspective is that we all think that different repositories, that's your Dropbox, you have to go through it, your Google, it's all a different drive. But we can just put one layer on top of it and you are able to search through it. And I think that's the same for any application we use within the organization. And I think a good example from one of our launching customers in the beta phase is that we selected 5 customers to really kind of test our search integration and the limitations, the possibilities of our integration framework for the customers. And Partners for Jeugd was one of the first ones. And they said, can you help? Let's just get started. Connect our integrations. And what we learned with them is that we really like how we can create different kind of filters for our knowledge base, our ticketing, our different applications, but also, hey, can we also rename it and make more kind of groups of applications like financial data or customer data? Because it's not always about the application name. It's really about the kind of the bundle and the umbrella where the data could be found. So that was feedback from this customer, and I think you can already see that being able to go to your ticketing integration like Autotask or Topdesk or so any line of application that kind of aggregates this data, just asking for it, you can find it. And another launching customer was SVO. And with an SVO, they really had kind of a knowledge-based library in SharePoint where their students had to find the right kind of explanation how to do things. So we've done with our integration framework, we didn't say, okay, you have to go to SharePoint. We just narrowed down the search to say you only have to search in SharePoint in this specific library. So it's really sometimes it's about the limitations and unlimit the search, but sometimes also about really pinpointing, say, now you only have to search through this kind of library. And I think it's all about, hey, I want to request a new laptop, or what laptop do I have? So it's all about giving students instructions about kind of hardware and software kind of possibilities. So it's sometimes making things kind of connect all the application. In this case, just the solution was so simple to say, we just want to pinpoint this specific library. So I want to show you some things real life where we do the demo. So in this case, you can see that within Workspace 5, I can search through everything. And this was already possible, right? So you already use global search to search to your documents. But previously, it was not about you are able to search through the data in the workspace. Let's say, for example, the hub. If I look for
maybe best to search as Sarah.
Yeah, so I'm just showing you examples, right? So if I look for Jones, you already see a name Anna Jones here. So obviously you see that the name Jones is found here. So maybe in the hub, there are some documents stored here. But if you just take a look through the hub, you can see we have a digital workplace, we have IT for education. So I should be able to kind of search through, let's say, education. And within the hub, you are able to find it. I don't make a mistake in typing. So you can see education. I can go to the hub. I can see the apps, emails, are really about filtering and finding the right information. In this case, we published some integrations where I say, hey, you can also go through the applications that are published directly in the integrations. So like I explained, right? So the essence of Workspace 5 is like a complete new way of building integrations. So our integration builder is a new kind of element within Workspace 5 where you can have. I think the best way to explain it is like almost like a USB-C connector. Where it's okay, this is the USB-C connector for, and then you connect it to application, HubSpot or Sage. So this is about a one-to-many integration. So now search is the way to build integrations and visualizations. And the same kind of framework will be used in the future to connect all the applications and to create different ways of visualizations using the same integration kind of technology. By saying, hey, now those all the applications are connected. Now we can present more and more data for employees moving forward. And the beauty of this is that we realize that for some partners, there will be a skill they want to master, right? So they can build their own integrations. Some customers will also build their own integrations. We also realize that we have to kind of show initiative and help our partners and customers to really leverage our integration builder to get started. So in the month of September, when we are launching this, we give 100% discount to all new integrations that we are building. So it's like integration as a service. So you request them on the website. And after September timeframe would just be a price per integration. You can still request on the website. The beauty of this, we keep track of all the integrations we built, so that we just become publicly available on the website, and you can just reuse them and master your own integration. So really, we want to help you to build the customer integrations yourself. But if you need help because you think we are either doing it better or you don't have the time to do it, feel free to reach out and let us do it and help you building those. So it's a very small step to go from search to AI. And the reason for me explaining it this way is that I think we all see the trend and the tendency that searching will be replaced by AI for some forms, right? So if you Google, now you get a summary, which is kind of an aggregation of multiple data sources. And Google's already giving you a summary of the AI interpretation of the different websites. And I think that's the next step you're taking as well with Workspace 5. So search, it's a really linear approach, right? So you search and we give you the results. But if you add an AI layer on top of search, it really becomes about interpretation and get people to the right kind of, and help people to get to the right document and the right procedure, because we can help them to interpret. So for us, AI will be a first start with having an AI assistant. They can help you to find what's relevant for you. So it's about going from searching to asking questions. And that will be our step of kind of the first step of implementing AI within Workspace 5. The next step is that we will do a similar way of like Google, that we just say, hey, do you have a kind of a preview, a summary of what you ask for based on those and those different sources. So in that case, the more applications connected to Workspace 5, the better the results will be, right? So if your CRM application is connected, your HR application, we can say, hey, based on all the things we saw, this is the interpretation of what the most likely will be the answer to your question. And ultimately, the more we can connect to the workspace, we can also say, hey, we found this, and this is where you should go. So we don't only give you a summary, we also allow you to say, this is the document where you found this information from, or this is the CRM data. So you should click here, this is the most recent deal, and this is how together, this is the right representation of the data, which we found throughout all the integrations. So for AI, so you're interested, so we will go live this Thursday with the first beta group of customers, where we get feedback on how they perceive the value of AI within Workspace 5. And hopefully, based on the customer feedback, we go live end of September or in Q4, where it just becomes publicly available within Workspace 5. And last quarter, our product team will work on Workflow Simplified. So it's all about creating kind of universal front end apps that can leverage the same integration framework. So let's say you have connected HubSpot to your search, you have connected HubSpot to your AI, and then the next step is that we can also create visualization layers. Hey, just show me the top 10 deals I worked on in HubSpot, or show me the top 10 open invoices I need to kind of cover, or my top 10 approvals. So it's really about giving people insights, not only what they are looking for, but also what's expected from them. So it's really about the workspace becoming the one and only interface, about bringing everything together. Yeah, so just some dates for everyone to remember. It's either So for Nathan, free to jump in.
Yeah, of course. So like I said at the start of this, this is part of a series of webinars that we are doing for all of our partners. So these are some that we've got coming for the rest of this year. So next month in October, we'll have the From Sign Up to Value webinar, where we're going to be helping you guys with understanding how you can really help your customers get up and running with Workspace 365 and start delivering value instantly. From November, we'll be doing another one of these roadmap webinars focused on AI Simplified, which Eric mentioned before, which is super exciting and really sort of boosts this conversation around the integration builder and the global search bar. And then finally in December, we'll be wrapping up with Engage for the public sector. Obviously, communications is such a huge part of sort of local government, healthcare, education. So we'll really be showing you guys how you can get a good foot in the door using our Engage module in there. You can check out all these events with the link at the bottom there.
Excellent.
Yeah. So like I said at the start, again, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. For those that maybe don't have it, is nathan.hamilton@workspace365.net. Feel free to drop me a line and or connect with me on LinkedIn. Always happy to help out where I can. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you've been able to get some nice value out of this. It's a super exciting feature of Workspace 365. We're all really excited and already seeing a huge impact, a huge shift in conversations that we're having. So hopefully you guys experience something similar.
Excellent. Nathan, thanks for joining today. Thanks for hosting the session with me. Thanks so much.
And thank you, Eric.